say. Hi everyone. Welcome to Adventures with Raven and Rowley. I'm Raven and this is Rowley. We are slowly converting a cargo trailer into a tiny home. Right now we live in a fifth wheel, full time. Last week I talked about the 5 days I had just spent with the HOWA women's caravan and the 4 one-hour drive that I did. This week I'll talk about the things I liked and didn't like about the cargo trailer and the things I will change. If you're curious, please join us on this journey and continue to watch. As it turns out, the stay in the cargo trailer wasn't all lovelies and roses. The caravan was great. The time there was great. The place was fabulous. The trailer was not great, but not bad either. You know how it goes. First thing on the list was insulation. I got to do something about the roof insulation. The wall insulation turned out to be great. There were no cold spots. Nothing that seemed to leak cold anywhere. It was just that everything that was warm inside escaped through the roof, or the roof vent. The ceiling has no insulation. I had tried 2 different methods of putting insulation on the top. The first method one was with magnets. The magnets I bought were nowhere near strong enough. But at the caravan, I talked to a woman who had her van. She had used magnets with her wool insulation. She put up wool insulation and she covered it with fabric, and then she put like a netting to kind of hold it all in place, and she put the magnets to hold everything up. And she complained that just the slightest of movements would bring those magnets down. She could never seem to find magnets that were strong enough to really hold it in place. And she had wool and fabric. I had really heavy moving mats, so I don't know what I would do unless I somehow or other found industrial type magnets somewhere that didn't cost a fortune. I had to do something else. Okay, I'm gonna insulate the ceiling today. I'm going to use moving mats and zip ties, and because there's nothing to tie anything to on the end up here, oops, yeah, that area, I got magnets, lots and lots of magnets. So I'm going to try and put that, secure these ends on this end and on that end with magnets. I might even secure it along the beam itself in some places with magnets. So none of this insulation is permanent, so I didn't want to make it permanent. So here goes. I hope you can see what I'm doing. My plan is to lay out 2 mats and put some mylar sheeting in between the 2. How about that? I've got 4 mylar sheets. These are the emergency thingies, emergency blankets. I've got 4 of these, and I've got 5 mats left, and I think I can cover the whole top here. Before, so it's something I thought up, and it may or may not work. Who knows? know, I've looked at a lot of history documentaries and what they used to do in the 17th century and whatnot for insulation. They didn't have Mylar, but they used blankets, or they used rugs, or even newspaper. Thinking, and I need at least 10 magnets to hold this in place for the time being. These magnets, you know, these are neodymium or whatever they are called. They have little hooks that you can screw into the end of it. So I'm going to screw the hooks in to 10 of them right now so that I can grab something. They'll be easy to grab instead of trying to grab something tiny like this. Now each one of these hooks is supposed to be able to hold 22 pounds. So I'm going to do 10 of them. I don't think in a heartbeat that stuff weighs 22 pounds, but it's got a lot of drag, so who knows. That's 2. Try some other methods. See what happens. Okay, I'm going to try and zip tie it up to the center so that it takes most of the weight, and then put the magnet only through one of the mats instead of trying to put it through 2 mats and the Mylar. Let's see what happens. See, what I tried to do was to lift it up, and then to lift it up and put the magnets on the edge and let it catch on that bar there. But the magnets weren't strong enough, and the blankets are too heavy. Now, if I could staple that up there, or screw it up there, or something of the sort, that might work. And it still probably would work, but I don't have the manpower. So that's going to have to stay for another day. I had no idea those mats were so heavy. It was very heavy. I think what I really should have done was put the zip ties in place before I tried to lift them up. Then I could just lift them up one at a time and zip it, zip, 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 and it wouldn't have been a problem, and it wouldn't have been too heavy, and it wouldn't have been too cumbersome, and that kind of stuff. I'm going to try that method next. Okay. And then if that doesn't work, I guess I'll have to spring for some foam board or something. which I've been looking at. So what I really think I need to do is make sure that all of the zip ties are in place on the ceiling, and I have laid it out on the ground and put the zip ties in place before I try and lift it up. And that should do the trick. Then, of course, there was the bed. I remember in one of the videos, I think the tour video, I said that the bed was really, really, really comfortable. It was not really, really, really comfortable. It wasn't anywhere near really, really, really comfortable. And then after I got there, and after the first night, I realized that I had used a blow-up mattress and not the foam mattress. And of course, I didn't bring the blow-up mattress with me, so I couldn't try it out. You know, I used the blow-up mattress on that cot the last time I did a camping trip in the tent. I had also forgotten that the mattress, even the blow-up mattress and the cot itself, wasn't wide enough to really sleep with Rowley. We did foot fights all night long as I was trying to find some place to put my feet, and he was trying to find some place to lay. This mattress bowed in the middle. I mean, it was like a boat, you know. And it was just really, really, really uncomfortable. I tried to widen the bed at the bottoms on the side by stuffing some of the moving mats down in that spot. I had a bolster that I put on the floor, and I rolled up the moving mats and stuck it on top of that, and kind of made the bottom of the bed wider. It just made it. But meanwhile, I was still sleeping in this ravine. It was just really uncomfortable. By day 5, I was ready to go home to my own bed. Not that because I wanted to go home. It was just because I wanted a good night's sleep, you know. I could have stayed out there forever as far as I was concerned if the bed had been right. It's been rough sleeping with Rowley because he tries to take up the bottom half of the bed. And anyway, so I knew that there was another good reason I had all those mats. So I just moved the bed a little bit away from the wall and scooched over the mattress a little bit so that it hangs off on this side a little bit. And we'll see how that works tonight. I've decided that when I go full time, which probably will be very soon, that I'm going to take my bed and my mattress and raise it up on risers and put it out there. Because to tell you the truth, when I originally bought that bed, I bought it for the 6x12 cargo trailer before I bought the fifth wheel, before I found out that I couldn't stay here in this park in the 6x12 cargo trailer. It had to be an RV manufacturer certified place to stay here in this park, which is the reason why I bought the fifth wheel. So that instead of buying a new bed, I just took the bed out of the cargo trailer and brought it into the house. And that's what I've been sleeping on ever since. But I'm going to raise it up on risers so that I have storage space underneath it. Talking about storage space, I lost track of everything. Most of the stuff was in bags on the floor. So I thought I had everything organized in bags, but not really. There was just really no organization. I mean, it was bad because every time I wanted something, I went through almost every bag to find it, every single time. It was crazy. I have this, what do you call it, cube shelving I had bought here for the fifth wheel because there is a real shortage of storage space in here. And I figure I'm going to take it out, reconfigure its shape, and set it up around the commode. I have a commode that I used as a toilet, and that worked out really, really well. I was comfortable. It was comfortable, and I used it as if it were a composting toilet, the same way I do at home. No smells, no problems. Really worked out nicely, and it was nice to actually sit down on something instead of sitting on a 5-gallon bucket. The kitchen area was too deep. I need some kind of shelving. You either need to build some shelving or buy some shelving or put something in there. I picked up a small shelf from Goodwill, but it's more of a spice rack than it is a shelf. And I'm going to keep that, of course. So I went to the dollar store and I got a half a dozen containers that I could stack, you know, with lids on them, the plastic containers with lids on them. And I got the no-skid shelf paper to keep them from sliding around. But I could see that they really need to be, if I'm going to continue to use those, that they really need to be on a shelf, because picking up one to get to the one underneath is going to become tedious. And of course, I need some kind of hook and eyes or something in the wall in order to strap around them when I'm driving so that they don't slide off of the shelf, you know. But that's up and coming. And they need to be available so that I can use them, you know. I really think that I'm going to have to build shelves or come up with some other solution for that problem. And then, of course, there's the refrigerator. I didn't do anything about the refrigerator when I went. I took a styrofoam box that I had with a lid, you know, and I figured I would use that to put the leftover dog food or whatever into it. I never used it. I ended up sticking it back in the car. But after I got home, I thought about, well, I don't want to use it with ice because I'd have to be driving into town every other day to get ice. But what I could do is to line it with cold rocks, like get up really early in the morning, which I'm up anyway, and just pick up some cold rocks from the desert and put them in there. That should keep the inside of the styrofoam cooler cool, or at least cool, not cold, but cool. I'll let you know how that works out. Right now the styrofoam cooler is in the cargo trailer, which is in storage, and so I got to get over there to get it out in order to try this experiment, and I didn't think of it until this morning, more or less. You know, so I'll give that a try and see what happens. I had mentioned in a previous video that I was going to use a 𝒎𝒄 pot. That's a pot inside of a pot, and it's like evaporative refrigeration. Well, I got a pot. I got a 19-inch pot and I got a 17-inch pot, and I bought 100 pounds of sand, 50 pounds of sand actually, but somehow they gave me 100. And that pot was so heavy, there is no way in hell I could move that pot in and out so that it could be out in the sun and become an effective evaporator. It was just too big, too heavy. And it would have been too damp inside of the trailer because you have to constantly keep it wet, moist, you know. So I could see that with all of the fabric I've got hanging on the walls and will have hanging on the ceiling, that really wasn't a good idea. So I said to myself, well, Self, you've got a dorm refrigerator. You bought the dorm refrigerator way back when you first bought the cargo trailer, and you thought you were going to live in the cargo trailer, and therefore could have plugged it in right here in the park if you were staying in the park, if I was allowed to stay in the park. So I said, well, I've got my little 240 Jackery. Let's see how it works. The back of it says that it requires 72 watts. I said, okay, that works, you know. I should be able to plug it in and see what it is. Well, what I forgot about was that it's got a compressor, and the compressor spikes at 290 some odd. And of course, this is only a 240 Jackery. But I did the experiment anyway. Of course, I didn't realize it until after I did the experiment, but you know how it goes. One of the scary things for me was to get in and out of that cargo trailer. The step that I have was a little bit too low, so that I stepped up on that wooden step, but it made getting into the trailer a big step. So I think what I need to do is to raise that wooden step up higher, put some 2x4 rails underneath the bottom to bring it up another 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 1.5 inches. And I think that that may make a big difference. The other thing is, of course, is I need a handle to hold on to when I get into and out of the trailer. After all, I'm not a kid. I have a wooden handle inside the main door of my fifth wheel that I've never used, because there's a handle outside the door exactly opposite it. I'm thinking of taking that wooden handle off and installing it into the cargo trailer so that I have something to grab when I go in and out. And I think that's a good solution. To tell you the truth, I'm not crazy about there not being at least one window either. I was okay, but not great. I think that the window will be my next must-have after fixing the rest of the stuff. I think the rest of the stuff is pretty much easy to do. All I got to do is do it, I kept the door open all day, and on the one overcast, cloudy, cold day, and it was cold, I kept the door open, and Rowley and I sat inside, wrapped in my sleeping bag. He made a really, really, really good hot water bottle inside of that sleeping bag as we sat there and watched YouTube. Okay, I have to be able to see out during the day. I actually keep the door open most of the day here in the fifth wheel too. I just do, even though I could open a window here, even though I have a window right next to me that I can open, which I do. I still leave that door open during the day. And the funny thing is, it's really, when I stopped to think about it, I felt safer with the door open out in the desert in that cargo trailer than I do with the door open in this RV park. I have no idea why. Maybe it's the amount of people around or something. I don't know. So, but the biggest problem was the bed. I've got to have a good bed. I think that with all the other stuff, that if I had had a good bed, even with all of the other stuff, if I had had a good bed, the trip would have been all roses and loveliness. Yeah, my Rowley. The Rowley report. Rowley doesn't like being home here in this park. He is not really crazy about this place at all. He cannot run free. He wants to be out in the desert, to be wild. He wants to go off the leash. He wants to run there, come back, tell me things, and then run back out again. Can't do that here in this park. He's on a leash all the time. And I could see that he's just struggling against that. So, I think I'm struggling against it too. I think we need to get out. So, thanks for watching and subscribing, and thanks for your support. Your comments really are important to me, and they feel good. They really do. If you'd like to help us get on the road, and see the links below, okay? Please share my video and subscribe to Adventures with Raven and Rowley. Also, booping the like button and ringing the notification bell would be good, too. See you next Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Take care of you and yours, and blessed be.